The next team PCAP, you got two more, is the Golden State Warriors. So far this year, they've had one of the best starting lineups in the NBA, and Steph Curry has been firmly in the MVP race. But they've yet to win a road game. They're actually the 13th seed at 3-7, and their bench has been bad news. The Warriors right now are doing something that could revolutionize the NBA. They're trying to win an NBA championship while developing young talent. You have a 19-year-old in Jonathan Kuminga, a 20-year-old in James Wiseman, two former top 7 picks, and then Moses Moody, Jordan Poole, a lot of young guys that are coming off the bench. And so far this year, it's probably been the worst bench in the Western Conference. It's why they're losing games. I'm going to hit it to you. Have you overrated the Warriors? At this time last year, they had veterans. Now they have young, inexperienced players who don't look good at all.
Yeah. No, I don't think that we're underrating them. I think it's another thing that they're finding their way, in my eyes. Steph has looked very good. Draymond's doing Draymond things. Clay is still working through it. And I have full belief that he will be able to bounce back to what he, at least somewhat of what he once was. The younger players, again, it's going to come with the territory. When you have these younger players and they're not as experienced, you're going to have growing pains. And they're kind of just putting them out there, putting them through the fire and seeing how they react, seeing who's going to be there late in the season that they can trust, who's going to be there going forward for the future of the Warriors. So all these guys need to step up. The guys you said, Moody, Kuminga, Poole, and Wiseman. That's the young core really right there. So those guys need to take their step forward. I know everybody's on Jordan Poole's you know what. He got the contract extension. He has looked good at times, but he's also looked very bad at times. And again, he's only 23 years old. They're putting a lot of pressure on him. So for me, listen, Jordan Poole is no Klay Thompson in his prime. Okay. Jordan Poole can give you an offensive load and a much better off the dribble game and driving to the hoop. He can do that better than Klay Thompson. That's fine. But defensively, he's nowhere near what Klay Thompson was. So if you're asking him to play major minutes with the Steph Curry, that's going to be cause for trouble because now your two guards are going to be a liability on the defensive end and can get attacked late in the season and into the playoffs. That's going to happen, John. They're going to attack those guys. They're going to attack Jordan Poole and they're going to attack Steph Curry. That's what they've always done. Teams that face the Warriors. They want Clay to get switched. They want Draymond to get switched off, and they want to go after Steph. And now Jordan Poole's on there. So that was the whole thing with the Miami Heat. I mean, people wanted, and me included, wanted Duncan Robinson and Hero to be on the same at the same time. And it was just not really going to work because they're two defensive liabilities, and you can't have two. You can have one defensive liability on the court, right? That you can get away with that. But having two, you're playing with fire.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at Best Amp. Today is Sunday afternoon, and one of the best parts about the day is watching football, of course. And if you want to get a stake into the game, you want to bet on the games, you want to know what the market is. You want to get the best available odds, and oftentimes that can be a time-consuming endeavor. And that's what Best Amp is here to help you with. If you want to see all the sports books in one single place, all you have to do is download the Best Amp app, which is totally free, and you can sign up for a variety of sports books so that they can provide you the best odds so you can maximize your returns. To go along with that, Best Amp also features other tools, such as a bet analysis tool to get constant updates on how well you're performing, but also the accounting tool so that you can track all of your bets in one single stop. So join us in the Best Amp app. Link is in the description, and use our referral code at WISEGUYS. That's WISEGUYS. Thank you to Best Amp for supporting our show. And as always, let's get back to it. I think you gotta watch your words here because Steph Curry is never been, he is not a defensive liability. There are moments in his past, but if you've been the one constant mainstay in the backcourt through years of top 5, top 7 defenses, it's safe for me to assume even the playoffs and teams are going to attack you because of the load you carry offensively. Dude, Steph's a good defender. Sure, he's 6'3", so he's limited, but I wouldn't consider him a liability. Jordan Poole, yes, his defense is usually bad news, but I do think he's only in his fourth season, just entering it. He can get better on that end, and I feel like with his good footwork, decent size, 6'4", he can defend passably. In the playoffs, it could be an issue still. But yeah, you did hit on a very good note there.
Yeah.
The biggest issue with the Warriors is they missed the James Wiseman pick. They had a very clear need at center because Kevin Looney could not stay healthy for them. So they went with the best center prospect that was supposed to be an immediate upgrade in the starting lineup. But James Wiseman was just the totally wrong pick for the Warriors. They should have moved it. Unfortunately, it wasn't a great draft class. If you have the trade asset of LaMelo Ball, sure, his value is not going to be raised in Golden State the way it was within a year in Charlotte, but the Warriors really put themselves in a rough situation. If they get Anthony Edwards, let's say, in that draft class, the first overall pick, I think we're looking at this team as the most ridiculous squad in basketball. Maybe Anthony Edwards didn't develop, sure, but James Wiseman just can't play. And when you take a guy in the top 3 of the draft, and there's no signs in the long term that he can close a game for you in the playoffs, you just missed on the pick. The center position is the least valuable one in basketball. There's literally no need to take them in the top 3 because the only ones that are worth that type of draft compensation are a Jokic or an Embiid level talent. And those guys don't grow on trees. Those guys don't grow on trees. There's exceptions, a Cats or a Bam Adebayo, let's say, but at the end of the day, you're going to take a Devin Booker over those guys because they don't limit you as much on the defensive end. You know, Trae Young, you can hide him no problem with the Clint Capella and you'll be just fine. You can't hide Karl Anthony Towns defensively. So the Warriors, a franchise that is so smart, just took one critical misstep in one of the biggest parts of the way. And I think right now they're up a tough alley with James Wiseman. I don't see him really developing until a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I've always said they don't need him to be like a star talent. They just need a guy who can rim protect, grab rebounds. Uh, that's just be a big guy, really. Yeah, no, I'm gonna. I don't. I think you think the Warriors are still gonna be in contention late in the season. I think you think they're gonna get it figured out. I don't think we're ready to sound the alarm as we say, press the eject button on them. I think that they're going to figure it out. They have the culture, they have the players, they have the coach. You got all that. I think eventually they're going to figure it out and they're going to get it all together and it's going to be just fine with the Warriors.
Well said.